Hey guys, Rory here, and today I've got the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera Volante special car. And normally we film special cars on special cameras, but today I'm filming this all on the new Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max. But don't worry, because apparently these things are pretty good. These modern Aston Martins are pretty decent too. This one is the DBS Superleggera Volante. It's a rival to the Ferrari 812 GTS and Bentley Continental GT. Think of it as a souped-up version of the DB11, and as the Volante part indicates, this one is a convertible. Highlights obviously include this 8-layer fabric roof, here finished in a denim-like material, which takes 14 seconds to fold up or down. It has an absolutely enormous grille, 21-inch black diamond-turned alloys, wide muscular haunches, delicious carbon fiber side vents, and a clamshell bonnet that reveals not just a 5.2-litre bi-turbo V12, but in this case a Q gold underbonnet pack that includes gold quilted bonnet insulation, a gold dipstick plaque, and gold oil filler cap, all visible through the vents in the bonnet. It looks delicious. But forget the looks for a second, because one of the coolest things about this DBS is the sound, and there are two ways of starting this car. There's a normal loud mode, which uses a quick press on the start button, and it fires up with extra gunshots just to let people know that it's you. Or there's a quiet mode. Maybe you're leaving the house early one morning, you don't want to disturb your neighbors for some reason, then you just hold the button for a bit longer, and it starts up without that same aggression. Right, loud mode for me, I think. If you want to experience the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera Volante properly, then you got to let it fill your ears with the sound of that amazing 5.2-litre bi-turbo V12, because it's a hell of a thing. Most new Aston Martins use engines provided by Mercedes-AMG, but not this one. This one is built by Aston Martin, and it is sensational. Nowhere near the loudest, nowhere near as obnoxious sounding as the V12 in the Lamborghini Aventador, for example. It's got a lot going against it. For example, it's got a PPF filter attached, which robs the sound. It's got EU noise limits against it, which robs the sound. And also, it's a turbo, which robs the sound. But it sounds gorgeous, this thing. It's smooth, it's like Vin Diesel's head. It has the power to match the noise, of course. The DBS Superleggera's V12 uses two twin-scroll turbos to good effect, making 725 metric horsepower and 900 Nm of torque. The convertible is 150 kilograms heavier than the coupe, but it will still do 0 to 62 in 3.4 seconds, and flat out will reach 211 miles an hour with the roof up or down. They're good numbers, and I know this might sound a little bit weird, but it actually isn't as violently quick as you might think, especially from a standstill. Most supercars, and I'm talking about the ones that have 700 plus horsepower, seem to launch off the line with a lot more violence than the DBS Superleggera. This takes a little bit more time to build, and when you're on the move, that's when the power and the speed start to increase. Aston Martin actually restrict the amount of torque you get at lower speeds, which makes sense because unleashing the full 900 Newton meters on a whim is just going to turn this thing into a big 300,000 pound smoke machine. But when you're on the move, when you're in third, fourth and fifth gear, it takes on a whole new character and it pulls like a train. But in reality, you're not going to be driving this car at a track, for example. This is pretty much a daily. You're going to want to enjoy this thing out on the open road, doing ordinary things. And one of the things that makes it great at that is the fact that it has 4 seats. Okay, so the rear seats aren't very big. They're only really for children or for people you don't like very much, but it's nice to have the option. It's also nice to have a pretty sizable boot. This thing isn't the biggest in the world, but it's certainly big enough for a couple of overnight bags, and you can actually increase the amount of space when the roof is up. Plus, it comes with this, which is a wind deflector, and the usual Aston Martin umbrella. Nice touch. Inside, the cabin is nice. You'll enjoy spending time here. The leather is especially lovely, but it isn't noticeably better than what you'd find on some cheaper Astons. The infotainment system is slightly clunky, the screen is low res, and there's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to play with here. But there are just enough nice touches to gloss over any discrepancies, including the now familiar motorized Bang & Olufsen speakers and an electrically operated center console that you can use to hide your belongings at the touch of a button. Reasonably pointless, perhaps, but very James Bond.
So there are a couple of ways you can drive your DBS Superleggera Volante, hard or soft. There's a couple of buttons on the steering wheel. On the left-hand side, there's a button with an icon of a damper, and pressing that, unsurprisingly, changes the amount of damping you get in the car. So you can cycle between soft, medium, or hard. Soft is a lovely mode for pottering around town, going to the shops. Hard is a little bit too firm in my eyes to use on a daily basis, but if you ever find yourself on a racetrack or feeling a little bit like a hooligan, then, you know, why not? For me, I find myself flicking between the softest setting and the hardest setting because the middle setting is kind of neither here nor there. On the right-hand side of the steering wheel, you have a button marked S, and this allows you to cycle between the different driving modes. You can choose GT, which is the softest setting. The engine's relaxed, the throttle response is relaxed. In Sport, things change ever so slightly. You get slightly more sound from that exhaust. And in Sport Plus, it takes it a step further and everything starts to feel a little bit more alive, a little bit more responsive. The beauty of the DBS is that you can choose your suspension mode independently to your drive mode. So you can have Sport Plus, but also have soft suspension. What's it like when you're on it? Well, again, the speed just builds, surges. It's an absolute animal in a straight line, but guess what? It's actually quite capable around corners too. It's actually front mid-engined, which means that most of the engine lives just behind the front axle, so you get lovely balance in this thing. It's a GT car, but it feels like there's a hidden supercar in there desperate to get out. It's a lovely thing to drive, really, really engaging, really, really fun, really responsive. One of the things I love about the DBS is that, unlike so many cars that live at the top of their food chains, this doesn't feel unapproachable. It doesn't feel too intimidating. So many other cars with this much power can feel like they can snap on you at any moment, but this is a car that pretty much anyone can jump behind the wheel and build their confidence gradually and actually end up having such a good time in. The bottom line is that this thing just provides heaps and heaps of usable fun. Sensational thing.
What kind of human being buys an Aston Martin DBS Superleggera Volante? Well, it's for people who want everything the Aston brand stands for. It's utterly gorgeous, the best looking car they make right now. The engine is truly glorious. It's fun to drive anywhere and at any time, and crucially, it makes you feel special.
It's also very different to its rivals. An 812 Superfast is terrifying. A Bentley Continental GT is super relaxed, super luxurious, a true GT car. And that's the beauty of it. It's this amazing halfway house of savagery and everyday usability. This is a car that won't scare you, but it will thrill you. And for me, that's what makes a truly epic GT. Right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, everything in this film was shot on the Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think of the quality in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.